What is up, YouTube? I am back with another edition of Against the Ropes. I'm going to be covering the latest edition of NXT. But before I get into the info, I'm just going to let you know now, I'm not going to do any more Monday Night Raw reviews or SmackDown, just because my schedule is busy and I don't have much time to cover it. But if you check out Simon Miller's Ups and Downs videos, which are amazing, you'll get all the recap there. Give him a like, subscribe, all that stuff, and please give me the same as well. It is much appreciated. But it will be replaced with Positivity Talk and a new talk show known as Randomness with Avery. Just a heads up before we dive into the info. But let's go. So we start off with another Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Round 1. Jacket Time versus MSK. Kushida and Nash Carter trade submission attempts. Lee tags in, which is Wesley, and assists Carter with a double team. Jiro tags in and lands a drop kick. Jiro and Kushida work over Wesley. After the break, Lee manages to tag in his partner Carter, who blasts Eichmann Jiro with a deadlift German suplex. Jiro responds with the Deadeye. Lee kicks out. Jacket Time lands stereo head kicks. Carter breaks up that fall. Lee escapes Jacket Time's finisher. Jiro misses the Swanton. Kushida counters the hot fire flame with the coverboard lock, it was actually a really good counter. It was really impressive. And then ultimately MSK hits their finisher on Jiro. 1, 2, 3. There's the win. And afterwards, both teams shook hands and hugged, which is good sportsmanship. But we all know it's going to be MSK versus Creed Brothers at the NXT Vengeance Day pay-per-view. I'm not calling it Premium Love Event. Screw you, it's a pay-per-view. Anywho, backstage we get Zoe Starks and Eoshirai. Zoe is basically telling Io she's disappointed she's not going to be cleared for the Dusty Cup Classic, because if you don't know, Toxic Attraction took her out a while back and she hasn't been cleared since. And tells Io to find a new partner. This is where we get a bit of humor in a bit. She tells Io that she's done it all in NXT and would be awesome to put her name on that Dusty Cup trophy. Io doesn't want another partner, which means Zoe thinks she likes her. Tiffany Stratton, who is a newcomer to NXT, who is basically a spoiled little rich girl, anywho, walks in, insults Zoe's outfit, says she found it on the clearance rack. Stratton says Io will have lots of time to find a new partner after she beats her tonight, walks off, and Io just screams at her in Japanese. Yeah, I don't have much to say. They're going to have a match later. Yeah. Back to the ring, MSK is still celebrating by the trophy, and then the music of Legado del Fantasma plays, which is Santos Escobar, Elektra Lopez, Raul Mendoza, and Joaquin Wild. They stare down MSK and they enter the ring. For their promo, Cameron Grimes has a little video basically talking about his match against Tony D'Angelo, how he's going to beat him. Go on to face Carmelo Hayes at Vengeance Day. Legado del Fantasma has their promo. Escobar starts out by saying he isn't like anyone else. He isn't going to come out and make fun of Breaker because of his father, uncle, or his family's poor math skills, which, if you know, you know. Escobar isn't going to blow smoke up Ron's ass either. He is not intimidated by Breaker. He hates it. He despises him and hates the fact he won the NXT title before he did. Then, interruption, Braun Breaker comes out, basically says he thinks Escobar is great but insecure, tells Escobar to shut up in Spanish, which was actually really funny, and to just make the challenge so he can accept it. Basically, we get right down to business. Escobar, as typical heel, says he does things on his own time and when he's ready. Breaker will know. Escobar leaves, and then his boys jump Breaker, but literally do nothing because they get their asses thrown out of the ring by Breaker, and that segment is over. Then we get a pretty good match, and no DQ, falls count anywhere, with Solo Sikoa versus Boa. Boa attacks him beforehand with a kendo stick, and then they end up fighting over a chair. Okay. Boa manages to yank away the chair and land multiple shots. Then he hits this butterfly suplex onto a trash can. Then gets a table from under the ring. Then both of them fight to the back, basically. Sikoa misses a hip attack and ends up running into a garage door. Boa ends up slamming him into the door a million frickin' times. And then ultimately, Boa knocks Sikoa out of the building. He kind of doesn't know where he is. He opens the garage door and ends up getting a fire extinguisher in the face. Sikoa's going for his finisher. He drops Boa on it. He drops Boa because they end up back in the ring, or back in the arena. Puts him on a table. Hits a Samoan drop, but the table doesn't break. Then he puts another table outside of the ring, climbs up top, hits the big splash. 1, 2, 3. Impressive splash. The commentators even were shocked and awed by that. It was pretty good. And then after both men are down on the ground and refs have to check on them because you nearly just died, so duh. Imperium has a promo. Gunther. It basically says his name is named after the grandfather who introduced him to the sport, and leaving the past behind and moving forward with his new identity. Then the tag champs Marcel Barthel and Fabian Eichner are honored to be led by Gunther. I am not going to get used to that. Another day. And then he basically says his name. And then we basically get a squash match. Duke Hudson versus Guraj. If you don't know either of those guys, I can't blame you. Duke basically is all over Guraj, and then hits a razor's edge. 1, 2, 3, done. Afterwards, Dante Chen tells Hudson that he's going to give him the respect that he didn't give him last week. He's coming. Chen comes to the ring, attacks Hudson, and basically Hudson hits a chop for the upper hand. And if you don't know, last week I talked about it. Dante Chen is a wrestler that has been out with an injury since September. He's kind of an undercard guy, so you haven't really heard of him. But he had a match last week with Guraj, who I don't know who this guy is. He's just enhancement talent. Duke Hudson came out, beat them both up, and said he's back. That's how we ended up at this segment. But nothing worth talking about. Get a backstage segment with Indy Hartwell and Persia Parada. Looks like there's tension. Mackenzie Mitchell is there too, conducting the interview at first, but they are one step closer to winning the women's tag team titles. Kaylee Ray walks in with a bat and looks forward to their match with Toxic Attraction and taking their titles. And then Legado del Fantasma has a promo. They're basically pissed and felt disrespected by Braun Breaker and said he made a mistake and he's going to get his. There's nothing really there. Then we get Kaylee Ray, Indy Hartwell, Persia Parada versus Toxic Attraction, JC Jane, Gigi Dolan, Mandy Rose, which is good match. Kaylee Ray and her team take turns working over JC Jane. Kaylee Ray hits a dive that takes out Toxic Attraction. Hartwell is put in Toxic Attraction corner. Toxic Attraction has control, working over Hartwell. After the break, they're still in control of Hartwell. Hartwell manages to get the tag, her partner Parada eventually cleans house. Kaylee Ray is chasing Rose around with a bat, takes her out of the building, out of the match. Parada eventually hits her finisher on Dolan. 1, 2, 3, win. Raquel Gonzalez and Cora Jade, there's nothing really there. Cora's still trying to convince Raquel to be a part of the Dusty Cup Classic because she tried this last week. Raquel said, you screwed me over at New Year's Evil, and I don't know why I tagged with you. I've already won. Things get heated. They're in each other's face. And to sum that up, there's a match between the two next week. Yeah. And then we get another Dusty Cup Classic match. It's the Grizzled Young Veteran, Zach Gibson and James Drake versus Andre Chase and his student, Bodie Hayward. Which, again, Andre Chase and Bodie Hayward, I did cover them, but that video was taken down due to unpopularity. But Chase and Gibson eventually lock up the start. Both end up getting the upper hand at one point and taunt each other until Drake throws a fit and ends up taking a Russian leg sweep from Chase. As Chase just plays to the crowd, hypes him up because he's a baby face. Again, no one told me how, but, you know, stomping away on Drake, getting the crowd to spell Chase University. He also does a tribute to Dusty Rhodes where he does his signature stuff and hits the bionic elbow, which is really cool. Bodie gets the tag for a double team action with the crowd completely behind him. Bodie works Drake's arm, gets a close 2 on him with the roll up. Bodie holds Drake so Chase can leap off the top rope with an axe handle. Chase is in control until Gibson tags in. Grizzled Young Veterans are in control. Trash talking as the action is back in the ring. Chase fights off the Young Veterans from their corner till Gibson comes back. Chase gets a near fall. Bodie gets the tag, runs wild until Drake distracts him from the floor, allowing Gibson to drop him with a shot to the throat. Drake tags in. They take out Chase and hit the double team on Bodie for the win. 1, 2, 3. It's more afterwards what happens. This team of Andre Chase and Bodie, I thought they were better than I thought, and they're going to be nice baby faces, but it's the after effect. Young Veterans leave. They face Creed Brothers next week, which the Veterans are going to get destroyed, my opinion, because Creed Brothers are getting big push. Shove a rocket to them. Von Wagner comes out. He returns because he got suspended on the New Year's Evil edition of NXT for attacking a fan. Destroys Bodie and Chase. Robert Stone, who, if you don't know, from TNA Wrestling, he is known as Robbie E. And before his lady partners, Frankie Monet and there was another one, but I forgot her name, were let go for these releases. He came out with him. He actually just gave him a suit jacket to put on. Fans are booing. It means those two are aligned. Stone's going to be managing him. All right. They tell him they suck. The fans tell him they suck. Stone looks in the camera and says, Wagner has been reinstated and is under new management. And then they both just stand tall. Grayson Waller promo, which this guy, I love this guy, and I wish LA Knight was on the show, but is what it is. I have a feeling he's going to be on the main roster because he's been having some dark matches with Roderick Strong. He introduces his bodyguard, as you know him, Savura Gujar, but his WWE is basically going as Sangha, saying he's one of the biggest stars in Bollywood and is now here to protect Waller, which, for Waller's sake, he's a cocky heel and he is going places, so having a bodyguard with you, kind of taking something from the match with AJ Styles, learning from AJ and like having your own bodyguard, because AJ had one in Omos. Smart guy. They're going to eventually break up, and they're going to be a match between two of them, and his bodyguard's going to kill him down the road, but we will get there. Waller has words for Knight, tells him to read the fine print on a restraining order, and basically calls him a third grader, which, yeah. So he doesn't end up in jail, which even if he doesn't end up in jail, he says it's fine. Waller talks more trash on Knight and says he's going to deal with him soon, but Sangha wants to meet him first, and Sangha just looks like he wants to rip his throat out. We get an update on Odyssey Jones. The announce team are announcing a patellar muscle injury because last week Joe Gacy and Harlan attacked him because pretty much Odyssey Jones insulted both of them. Eoshirai versus Tiffany Stratton, not too much. They both size each other up, trade holds, and work each other's arms as fans are going for Io the whole time. Stratton has control until Io plants her with face first into the mat, starts taunting Stratton, runs to the ring, and hits a basement dropkick for a 2 count. Stratton avoids a crossface and makes it to the ropes. Stratton eventually capitalizes on a distraction and gains control until Io rocks a frustrated Stratton with an open hand strike. Knees control, and hit moonsault for the win. So, yeah, keeps control and pretty much the moonsault for the win. 1, 2, 3. Tiffany Stratton's a new superstar. She debuted on the December 28th. She's basically a spoiled rich daughter. Could be another star for the women, but your 4 horsewomen are basically running the show. I don't understand WWE, how they don't care about their women. And Eoshirai might be called up soon too. I thought she was going to lose this match because it was just reported Eoshirai, Roderick Strong, Dakota Kai, and LA Knight were on dark matches. Are going to be on Raw, SmackDown. So they're going to eventually be called up. So probably whatever program either of these people have, they're going to finish that up. And they're probably going to get written off NXT somehow. Then we get a Diamond Mine promo reacting to the one from Imperium earlier. Malcolm Bivens says Gunther's a horrible name, and he's not wrong. And his parents should have named him Dumbass. Goes on and says the Creed brothers are going to win the Dusty Cup Classic and the tag titles from Bartel and Fabian. Roderick Strong will chop Gunther down like a big dumb Austrian tree. Like the big dumb Austrian tree he is. And Ivy Nile will stretch him from here to his mother's. This group is great. And then it leads to Malcolm challenging Imperium to a 6-man tag for next week. Creed brothers pretty much say they're better, and they call them Austrian pretty boys. And Roddy basically says he's going to chop, pretty much what Bivens said, he's going to chop Gunther's ass down, and Diamond Mine's going to win. And it basically, Bivens says, enjoy last week's win because it won't happen again. Out comes Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes because the main event segment is coming up. They're basically introing their girl, Ollie, who just sings a bunch of her music, and they're like, oh my God, nothing really there. And pretty much a video package for the main event, Cameron Grimes versus Tony D'Angelo for #1 contendership for the NXT North American Championship. So who's going to face Carmelo Hayes at the NXT Vengeance Day pay-per-view, which I'm not calling a premium live event because no. Tony D'Angelo cuts a promo basically saying the same thing as Cameron Grimes. He's going to win. Yeah. Tiffany Stratton, this segment was dumb, but yeah, we're going to cover everything. Stratton backstage, she's complaining on her phone to her dad, Wendy Chu, who is basically a girl in pajamas that sleeps all the time. Okay. Appears and tells her not to feel bad because everyone loses Dio, and then gets slapped for it. Okay. Yeah. Main event time is Cameron Grimes versus Tony D'Angelo for the #1 contendership. Grimes takes Tony to the corner, but he comes back quickly and takes Grimes to the mat, working his arm. Cameron Grimes has control as Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams are looking on until Tony gains control by launching Grimes with a big suplex. D'Angelo is in full control until Grimes kicks out of a backbreaker. Back from the break, and Tony hits belly-to-belly suplex for a 2 count. Tony is still in control until fighting him off with back elbow and a big Hurricanrana, which Grimes hit on him. Grimes builds offense until missing a running dropkick in the corner as Tony sidesteps. Tony hits a German suplex for a close near fall. When Grimes blocks another attempt for the roll-up, then Grimes blocks another suplex attempt for a roll-up for a 2 count. Grimes has control until Tony hits a forearm and a back and overhead suplex for a 2 count. Tony's in shock and he's starting to get frustrated. He's clearly frustrated. He keeps on fighting, but Grimes is in control. Hits a second rope moonsault, which is pretty cool. Grimes goes for a cave-in. Tony exits the ring for a breather, but Pete Dunne returns and hits him with a cricket bat, which ends up putting Tony back in the ring. Tony gets the cave-in. Tony gets caved in. Cameron Grimes, 1, 2, 3. You have your number 1 contender for the North American Championship at Vengeance Day. Afterwards, Grimes is taunting Hayes and Williams. And that is going to be a pretty good match. I can't wait. And then we go to the back. Braun Breaker is about to leave. He's stopped by a cameraman asking who his partner is. Then an SUV pulls up and it's Legado del Fantasma about to jump him. But before they even do, Tommaso Ciampa shows up and basically chases off Legado del Fantasma. Ciampa and Breaker basically props and high five, and that's the show. Really good show. I find it's better than the main roster stuff. I'm guessing Ciampa and Dunne are going to be coming back to NXT for a bit until they get called up, which I think they're going to be called up at any point from before WrestleMania to after WrestleMania. After WrestleMania, more likely. And I hope these guys do well. And I'm looking forward to Breaker versus Santos Escobar, which is probably going to be at the pay-per-view. A lot of good stuff going on. We will stay tuned, folks. And that is it. Just a reminder, there's no more Raw, no more SmackDown. My schedule is busy. Check out Simon Miller for that. I'm still going to be covering NXT. I'm going to be covering like WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, those kind of pay-per-views, and the NXT pay-per-views. But in the Mondays, Night Raw and SmackDown slot, it's going to be more positivity talk and a newer concept, randomness with Avery. So stay tuned, folks. Have a good night. Stay safe. Stay cool.